Okay, Wildcats. Today we're looking at Friday, September 28th, formulate absolute value inequalities, and that's going to be on page 13. Now, this is going to be the last assignment for the first 6 weeks, okay? All right, so if you would, update your table of contents. All right, now your table of contents are updated. Let's take a look at the notes. All right, formulate systems of equations on page 13. Steps to formulate and solve a system. Step 1, define the variables. Step 2, write the equations. Step 3, solve the system. And step 4, explain the solution in sentence form. If you would, update your notes. All right, now your notes are updated. Let's look at the examples. Now, remember, this is going to be almost forgot. Remember, this is going to be in your journal monitor on page 13, and this will be in your journal monitor on page 13. All right, example 1. A group of sophomore students leave the high school without permission to go to lunch at Taco Bell. If a student buys 2 burritos and 5 tacos, this will be the bill will be $19.50. If another student buys 5 burritos and 2 tacos, his bill will be $22.50. Find the price of each taco and each burrito. So the first thing, step 1, define the variables. So we have, let's call B the price of 1 burrito. Okay, and then T, okay, let's call the price of 1 taco. Okay, step 2 is write the equation. So we know if a student buys 2 burritos, so that's 2B plus 5 tacos, the price will be $19.50. Okay. And then the next is if another student buys 5 burritos plus 2 tacos, the price will be, our bill will be $22.50. Okay. Now, step 3 will be solved. Now, at this point, you want to decide if you want to, I had a line here. I think I'm probably not going to use it. Okay. You can either do substitution or elimination. Here, because they're both in standard form, I'd probably use elimination. So what I'm going to do is I want to get rid of either the B or the T. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply the first equation by -5 and the second equation by 2, and I'll show you why. So I'm going to multiply the first equation by -5. And I'm going to multiply the second equation by a +2. And let me add some lines to keep the work organized here. All right, so -5 times 2b is -10b. -5 times 5 is -25t. And then let me grab a calculator here. So then -5 times 1950 is -9750. Okay. And let me draw, so I can kind of separate my work here. Okay. So then 2 times 5b is 10b. 2 times 2t is plus 4t. And then 2 times 2250 is $45. Now, when solving by elimination, we can add the equations vertically. And notice what happens when you do that is Negative 10b plus 10b cancels. That's become 0. Okay. Now we have negative 25 plus 4 is negative. This is my wife. I should probably answer it. Hello? What's up? I think go. Let me say practice. Yeah. If they, I'll text, what's it called? I'll text them this. They'll let me know if they cancel practice. But I don't think I'm looking at the weather. Actually, I'm looking at the cards. I don't think they're going to cancel practice. I think it'll be fine. Oh. Just tell him no. He'll be fine. Okay. All right. Love you. Sorry, I had to. My son's got baseball practice, so my wife and I had to figure out how things are gonna work to get him there, and because tonight's open house, as I'm making the video, so it's parent stuff. When you get older, you'll be doing stuff like that. But nonetheless, I think my son's gonna be on his way to baseball practice, which would be awesome. And let's continue the video. All right. So you notice the B canceled, so now you're just left with T. So now we solve. So we're going to divide both sides by negative 21. So then T equals, now we divide that, so negative 5250 divided by negative 21 is $2.50. All right, so we now know tacos are $2.50. Okay, now to find out how much burritos are, we ran out of space, so we'll just use we'll come up here, up and over, up here. So we'll come up here to finish the work, okay? We're going to plug in 250 into either equation. I think probably the first one's probably fine. So we have 2b plus 5 times, and we now know a taco is $2.50 equals to $19.50. Right. So we're going to multiply here. So 5 times 250 is 1250. So that's 2b plus 1250 equals 1950. Okay. We're going to subtract 1250 from both sides. So then you're left with 2b equals, I believe that's 7. Divide 2 by both sides. So b equals $3.50. Now, step 3 is explain the solution in sentence form. So you would say a taco. Actually, let's start with burrito because the burrito started first. So a burrito is $3.50, and a taco is $2.50 at Taco Bell. And I think you have to capitalize Taco Bell. All right. So now let's look at example 2. All right. Mr. Luke has hidden 575 quarters and nickels in his classroom. The quarters and nickels amount to $83.75. How many quarters and nickels has Mr. Luke hidden in his classroom? So step 1, you want to define the variables. So let's start with Q. Is the number of quarters, and N is the number of nickels. Okay, so we define the variables. Now the next step is to write the equation. So there's 575 coins. So we know that the quarters plus the nickels is 575. Okay. Now we know that quarters are 25 cents plus nickels are 5 cents. And that's a total of $83.75. Okay. Now to make this equation easier, let's convert everything to pennies. So if we do that, then that's 25 pennies plus 5 nickels is 80,375 pennies. If we do that, we now have gotten rid of the decimals, which makes this problem a lot easier. Okay. Now, example 2 is almost like example 1 where we want to use elimination. So here, let's just get rid of in this case, let's try to get rid of the nickel. So I'm going to multiply everything by -5 because a -5 and a +5 will cancel. So I'm going to multiply the first equation by -5. So -5 times, I'm going to put a 1 there, 1Q plus 1N equals 575. And we're going to leave the second equation alone. All right, so separating the work here. So now let's multiply the first equation by -5. So -5 times 1Q is -5Q. -5 times 1 is -5N. And then -5 times 575 is -2875. Okay, so now we have 25Q plus 5N equals 8375. So now -5 plus 25Q is 20Q. Those cancel, equals -2875 plus 8375 is 5,500. We're going to divide both sides by 20. So Q, I'm going to have to write small. Q equals 5,500. Q divided by 20 is 275. All right. Now, let me write it over here so it's easier to see. 275. Now, it's real simple is, well, if there's 575 coins, then we know nickels are 300 because 275 plus 300 is 575. Okay. All right. So next thing is explain the solution. So you would say, Mr. Luke has hidden 275 quarters and 300 nickels. In his classroom. All right, so finish up example 2. All right, now let's take a look at example 3. All right, a rogue Secret Service agent has stolen Air Force One and is flying at an altitude of 10,000 feet. He begins to descend at a rate of 200 feet per minute. At the same time the Secret Service begins to descend, the president, Jamie Foxx, begins to climb at a rate of 50 feet per minute in the rescue plane. In how many minutes will the plane be at the same altitude? What will the altitude be? So first things first is we need to define our variables. So let's see. A rogue Secret stolen Air Force One is flying at an altitude of 10,000 feet, begins to descend at a rate of 200 feet per minute. At the same time, the Secret Service agent begins to descend. Check my work here. I want to make sure I explain this correctly. As you didn't see it, but I just threw my notebook at my Chromebook. Which brings me to a good point. You probably want to get your Chromebook insured because the Chromebooks are $300 to replace, I think. So get insurance. All right. So first thing, we're going to define a variable. So X is the number of minutes and then Y is the altitude in feet. Okay, so next thing is we're going to write our equations. Okay, all right, so Air Force One flying at an altitude of 10,000 feet. So it starts at 10,000 feet. Now descending is minus, so minus 200x, and that equals your altitude y. Okay, now Jamie Foxx begins to climb at a rate of 50 feet. So he starts at 0 feet, plus he's just climbing at 50 feet, and that's equal to your height. All right, so now we're going to we wrote the equation, step 3, solve the system. So here, this is actually, you want to use substitution. I think I misspelled substitution. Substitution. All right. Now with substitution, I'm going to kind of make a table. And I recommend at that point using color. So I'm going to put the first equation in blue. So 10,000 minus 200x equals y. And you can get rid of the 0, so you just have 50x equals y. Okay. And actually, I can get rid of this line for this reason. Okay. You notice they're both equal to y, so they're both equal to each other. So really, I didn't actually have to use color because I didn't notice that they're both equal to y. Otherwise, you'd have to substitute that back in, but in essence, they're equal to each other. All right, now you just solve. So we're going to add 200x to both sides. That cancels. You're left with 10,000 equals 250x. Divide both sides by 250. That becomes 1. X equals 10,000 divided by 250, which is 40. Okay. Then define y. It's real simple. Plug 40 into here. So 50 times 40 equals is 2,000, which equals y. So the question asked In how many minutes will the plane be at the same altitude? What will the altitude be? So you'd say the planes will be at the same altitude in 40 minutes. And the altitude will be 2,000 feet at this time. All right, so video I'm looking at time is about 20 minutes at this moment, okay? This is gonna be the last assignment for the 6 weeks. So this assignment is gonna be due at the end of class. So once you're done with the notes and examples, go and turn the page, or actually tear the page off. This will go in your journal binder, okay? And then, because I knew this video was gonna be long, and it's the last assignment, I gave you 2 problems to do. So finish those assignments, and I'll basically check for completion at the end of class, and then we'll kind of go over the answers together, okay? So with that, have a wonderful Wildcat last assignment for the 6 weeks day.